They just may not see what you see.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
Welcome to the Life's Inside Track with Yetta Decker.
Ken Decker?
And today we have special guest, Silas O'Doer, all the way from
Kenya. And when did you? Yes. Briefly, quickly from Kenya. And Roland Poirier. And yeah, we're just going to get to know them. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, so like every show with Life's Inside Track, we're sharing techniques, thoughts, tools that we all need, we all deserve, so that we can turn our house into a home where our families thrive and we live the best life possible. And today's episode is about vision. And vision is not necessarily just here where we're hanging out.
Yeah, because vision, people think of your eyesight. But vision can be put in the mind of a future that doesn't exist now. And so, really interesting, you may see a vision that others don't see because the vision was given to you to impart. And sometimes that vision can be scary.
Very much so. And so today what we're going to look at, we're going to learn how actually we can take the vision, the person that gets the vision, how do they go about casting it to inspire others? And so, Silas, you're the guy that had the vision. And so how did you go about casting that vision so others could catch it?
Well, Yetta and Ken and Roland, it's great to be here. The vision that I got was so huge. One is I kept speaking it out and casting it out and painting it clearly for the people that I was speaking to or my hearers to be able to grasp it. But the thing that we have to agree is that sometimes it is so huge that it scares the hearers, because you are talking about building a university, pulling a child from hopelessness to become a doctor or an engineer, and everybody asks how. So the question is, the vision in itself tosses people away.
So what you're saying is you had to cast the vision in a manner that didn't freak me out. And
Yes.
didn't freak Roland out.
Yes, you have to bring it into palatable forms that people can accept.
Palatable.
Yes.
So give an idea of how you brought this particular vision, the one you had, and what year was it?
This was way back in 2008.
Okay, so 2008, the vision is given to you. And
Or
then
was it given to Roland? Who was it given to first? Or was it given to both?
It was given to Silas because
okay.
he understood the need. I never witnessed that need at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so Silas definitely was the vision caster. And he just threw a few tidbits at me that was like, okay, I can help with that part. You know, I look at it like going into the garden, I'll bring my garden tools, right? I've got this, and that. And at that point, it was, he hadn't shared, except for once or twice, someday there will be a university here. And I was like, yes, sure.
Sure. Well, yeah. Okay. So doing it in palatable form, say a little more about that. Like, how did you break it down so that you didn't freak us out?
Like just to bring it up again, you know, we were looking at my village, where I came from, where education, a lot of children were orphans. HIV had killed quite a number of people. There was no certainty of food. And so as I was dreaming and seeing what was possible vis-a-vis the realities on the ground, and as I was talking to people on what I was seeing, I had to say, okay, this is the need, and this is where it is possible to get to. But we can begin by just feeding these children. And then what's the next step beyond feeding them? Give them education. Create some sustainable environment that would prop this growth. And then ultimately the university, and as I keep telling people, a journey of transformation is not a 1 minute commitment. It's not a 1 year commitment. It's not a 10-year commitment. Life cycle of transformation for one child would be 25 years in the minimum. And not to scare people, we just say, okay, can we begin by feeding them, which is achievable to many. I can give my $10, I can provide a plate of food to an individual. And then this would give the energy. Now that this child has hope to live, do we leave them there? Because then they will slip back to that hopelessness again. So creating a vision in stages is easier. But most of the time, again, the visioner only sees the end result. And so you have to bring other people other people must come on board who can now segment it. And that's where Roland comes, because for me, I see a university, I see for a life to be holistically transformed, they need to compete at the same level with the people in developed countries. So when Roland came in, he could see the agriculture part of it. And people like you and Ken could see the real estate, because agriculture needs land. So other people just came on board and fitted. And again, it brings me to saying vision is not for an individual. It needs a whole team for it to become a reality.
Right. So thinking about your own visions, the visions that you might have, recognizing that it's not a solo opportunity. It may be that you got the dream and the vision all by yourself, because usually it's given to one person, and yet it will take a community, it will take a collaboration to bring the vision home. And I love what you said, Silas. It's not a minute. It's not 1 year.
No.
It's not a decade. It's at least 25 years when we're talking about the vision being about transforming a life.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have a question. And the question that came to me is, as change started coming to the village, and you had the vision for what could happen in this village, and it was a very economically poor village. How long was it easier to get somebody like Roland to buy into your vision than the local people who had lived in poverty for so long? Or did they buy the vision that you had immediately?
Is that Roland would come in, but I would say it takes faith. Roland, I met Roland on the first day and speaking to him on what I was seeing as a possibility. And he believed that together we could do this. And even going to the village, people have lived this kind of life, very myopic life, for so long. You talk to them about change. They ask, is it really possible? But then simple steps creates light, and people follow that light, and ultimately they believe. So it takes faith to believe, because faith is about seeing that which is impossible, the non-existent, and creating it to be substantively evident before people that it is possible.
Yeah, and I love how the vision was catching on, because Yetta was there in 2008.
Yeah.
And then, when was I there? 2010? Somewhere around there. We went with Roland another time.
Yes.
And I could already see the change in the village. There was some electricity. There was wells drilled, so there was fresh water, healthy water, and things were happening. And I also, my son had been the year before me, and I noticed there was youth that were buying in. They had an agricultural group that they were working outside of the agricultural stuff that we were doing. So that was amazing to see them catching the vision.
Mm-hmm. And, it's famous quote, probably one of our all-time favorites, and it's something Martin Luther Jr. King said, and it's, I have a dream. And it has to start with, I have a dream, for anybody else to catch on to it. So we're grateful and honored to be on this journey with you of dream visioning.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.